Well, hello, everyone. We have a wonderful, talented filmmaker with us today. He is behind not one, not two, but three projects in this year's event: Alien Activity, Breaking Souls, and Until Dawn. So we have a lot of information here. We want to pick this gentleman's brain. We have three projects, three vastly different projects. You know, we were talking a little bit before coming on here, and I really had to congratulate you on the idea that your projects are so different and they look different, they feel different. I had a conversation with the other chairman and some of the screeners of the film, and they were kind of taken back that the same filmmaker was behind the three separate projects because they have an entirely different tone. So before I dig too deep into these different projects you have, I just want to have you introduce yourself. Let us know what your, you know, what you did for these three projects, as far as, like, I know you acted in some of them, and what your titles were.
Thank you for having me. Um, let's start with the first is alien activity. So, I wrote the script with a friend who is in New York too, a co-writer. And once the project was ready, I said, let's find a producer, and nobody wanted to produce the film. And then the actor, the lead role, with his name is a Swedish actor, Per Dinner who is becoming very familiar in my film because every time I make a film, I choose this man who will have a lot of talent. So anyway, he said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna produce the film, and he put the money, and we did this film, and we shot in the south of Sweden. But I say I want that the location look a little bit like in the US, and so we try to find a location who match a little bit with the story. And of course, there is also this Swedish actor called Ralf Beck, who is a very, very talented actor in Sweden. And so anyway, and we did this alien activity, and with a big crew, budget, and anyway, and but we did not know that this film gonna have a success, honestly, on the film festival. And so
Oh,
that was the project was really challenging because it was the first time really where I had a budget, really a decent budget to make a short film.
well, that's great. I mean, you have so many hats in these different productions, and you have so much material. I can only imagine the pen and paper, the pads in your house that are full of different stories and material. You must have, in notebook after notebook filled with screenplays, because the fact that you have three films in here, I can't, and that's what you created in such a short period of time. I can't imagine what else there is to come. I mean,
Yes, and by the way, Breaking Soul, the second one, so was very challenging this one because I decided to make this film in Swedish, and I don't speak Swedish at all. So still, I'm living in Sweden for so many years. I don't speak Swedish, so I speak English, Italian, French, but not Swedish. But anyway, so I find someone and I say, please, can you translate me? So on set, all the actors were talking Swedish, and they were so good. And so the original version is in color, but I find that this film need to be read it. So I did the black and white, and still right now I'm not really satisfied about the quality. But anyway, and we did the subtitle, and it was very interesting because those actors were not actors, by the way. There was only one actor there. The rest were not actors. So I have to coach them, and really people taking from the street. I say, hey, are you interested? They were friends, and but it's a drama. So, and in Sweden the people are very they are not drama, they are very, they control themselves, they control emotions. So but on the set I say you need to let it go, and you need to be what there is in the line. And yes, in the background, it is the whole castle of the king. And so we had the permit to shoot there inside.
Wow.
And anyway, it was amazing because it was in Swedish. So every time I have to make sure that the translation in English will be right, you know.
Wow. That's like truly phenomenal. I can't even imagine directing someone, let alone like a film that I don't speak the native language. Years ago, I believe it was a similar scenario. I think Mel Gibson directed Apocalypto,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
And
I love him.
he didn't speak the native language at the time, and he had translators, similar like that. And he said it was one of the most challenging experiences of his life. But that to me is one of the highlights of his career. It's such a beautiful film,
Absolutely.
uh,
It just,
but it takes a lot of patience.
yes, yes. And before to get there, you know, to that I'm ready to shoot this film. Of course, and we did not have a budget. You know, I have to say, I have to thank all the actors. They have been so helpful, you know, and everybody did what we can to make this film happen. And did not have a success in Sweden because, of course, because I show some fragility of the human being there in Sweden. You know, I was talking about, you know, this family who have a drama. Let's say in Sweden, to be correct, you don't have to show too much your emotion, but inside they are like you and me. But so this kind of project can sometimes go against the philosophy of the Swedish film. You know, everything is fine, everything is good. No, I like to show drama and to be authentic. And so anyway, it was an experience, you know, with Swedish people who are really interesting people. You know, I have to say that living there for so many years, uh, there is a lot of talent in Sweden, you know, and most of the talent are leaving Sweden and they go in the US to make
Wow.
a career because there in Sweden, the art is not a priority, and it is what I'm fighting big time there. You know, I'm trying also on the side to develop the independent filmmaking on the island where I'm living, but nobody really care, you know, except my friend, those actors. But
Wow.
so it's sad to see that the talent from Sweden have to leave their country and go in US to make a career, you know, to be
Wow.
considered.
It's funny. It's actually heard the same, a similar thing you're saying. We had a previous Q&A with another filmmaker who said the same thing. It's like unfortunate that, they have so many wonderful, talented people in the country. And I can't quote which project it was, but they had to go elsewhere
Yeah.
to get notoriety, to get, jobs, to get, you know, any sort of viewership on the project. And that's really unfortunate. I mean, I guess that's one of the reasons that artists from all over the world are gravitating towards the States. But, there is amazing foreign films and international films. And, the fact that your films, you have a Swedish film that's people are watching here and reacting to, and people I see are voting for your projects is just an amazing thing. It shows that people do care, and people
Oh
do
yes,
appreciate the art that's coming from
I'm
there.
sure. Oh yes, and that's the good thing is in Sweden, the people really. I mean, that's the way I see them. You know, there is a lot of artists, but honestly, the government is doing nothing. You know, I have to tell you today, this morning, because in Sweden you can write to the government. I wrote a letter to the prime minister today morning, here my time in Morocco, Casablanca, and I wrote a letter talking about the artist we are left behind, and we need we need some help, and but anyway, I know that nothing going to change, but
It's
you know,
important, though. It's important to
yes,
artists to hear you say that, because
yeah,
believe it or not, there's so many other people out there that probably feel the same way you do, even if they're not in that same country. I mean, people are seeing it
absolutely.
all over. And even here in the States, there's a different side of art. We were
I
getting
know.
films from some in, some projects from Europe, and they have a lot more freedoms as far as like, you know, sexuality and certain things they put forth in film than they do here in the States. A lot of stuff here in the country is getting kind of demonized over, content. And that was one of the big things I said in the speech that I said on opening night is our event is, a non-censored event. We don't take bias sides on opinion. And in some places around the world, and even here now, you can't say certain things or else you're going to get canceled. People are
Absolutely.
going to
Oh
ignore
yeah.
your projects. They're going to blackball you.
I
And
know.
that's,
That's why we
we
have always to be careful. Absolutely.
yeah, and the thing is that's not what art is about. Art has
No.
never been about bending, controlling yourself. It's never, think about Da Vinci and all the other, artists of our, generations ago, Shakespeare and, other
Oh,
foreign artists. If they were censored at the time, we wouldn't have their masterpieces now. And a lot of things changed in the world from it. So it's so important that you did went forth and wrote a letter,
you know,
regardless
because
if they even read it.
yes, and one of my mentor, of course, I never met him because I was too young, but John Cassavet, I have studied a lot the work of John Cassavet. What incredible man, first of all, was an artist, so talented, but bringing the independent filmmaking, and the first film I did was in the US, in upstate New York. We shot I did two films there, two short films between Calicut and Pennsylvania. And I remember the first time for Paradise River was the first. I did not have any money. I just got married, and at this time, my ex-wife was broke like me, and I said, "Okay, let's make this film." And by the way, I was so impressed. 1 week later, we found all these amazing people who are still friends today. And I remember this guy called me, this DP. He said, "You want to make a film?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "But I have no money." He said, "No worry, I'm bringing two red Scarlet on set." So we have a two big camera, big crew. And I say, "Oh my God, I cannot pay them." So I give a lot of credit. And they say, "Hey, we don't want money here. We want to make a film. We like your story." So, and the
That's
second
beautiful.
film called When It's Not Your Time was very quite popular on the festival. And it was different. We have a budget and we made, but I have to say that every time I did a project in US was so I was so grateful to those people, but I really felt home. I say, okay, this is the place where I have to live, where I have to make film. Anyway, so that's why many times the background of the film that I did, people say, "Oh, some people told me Alien Activity was shot in US." They say, "No, it was shot in Sweden."
Oh,
Now, until then, the last one on talk, until now, this short film, I did not have any money. It was summer, it was very hot. I said, "Okay, what can I do?" And I say, "Okay," and I wrote a script with the co-writer who is in California. Because by the way, all the people, I have to say that all the crew working with me, not for me, but with me, because we are like family, they are all from US. I have to say, like editor, except the music composer, I have an incredible talent. His name is Andro Jacob. He's multi-time award-winning in Norway. Is and it is the key of each film I try to make. This man is here as a sound designer and the music composer. So he's the only one European. The rest of the crew, for all the film I did, are from US
wow.
because I don't know. I have such this good feeling with those people. They understand me, and so for until then, I have just my camera, but I did not have any DP. And the secret of this film, I will tell you, on set there were nobody. There was only me and the camera.
Wow.
The DP did not show up. The sound guy did not show up. And I say, okay, I have a script here. And what I'm going to do? And I said, okay, let's try. And I film myself. So all the scene that you see, it's me with the camera. And I say, how I'm going to do with the sound. And the sound designer have recreate the sound. Now
Wow.
you know everything about that.
That's so that's actually a really that's amazing, and that just shows you your true passion. Because a lot of other filmmakers would have said, you know what, screw this, I'm not, I'm gonna wait. And
Yeah,
that's the
nobody will
one
do
thing
that.
I talk to different filmmakers, and a lot of people like they talk about budgets and stuff like that. But like if you truly have a passion, you have a story to tell, you have to get it out. And the story you made when you're thinking about creating Until Dawn, if you were to recreate that same story today, it won't have the same artistic merit, even if you had a full crew, because now when you look back on that project, you're going to remember you were behind the camera, in front of the camera. The experience of it is going to have so much more. And then the audience, now knowing that, are going to have a different view
View.
of that project.
Yes,
And it's one of those behind the scenes type of thing. Like when you see like the behind the scenes of a movie, how it's made, that is truly incredible. Because when you said that, I would have never imagined that. You know, like how did you must have totally put yourself in focus and had blocking perfect, impeccable in order to execute that film. Because there's a lot of like, you know, I thought you were like walking down Route 66 and, you know, like that's what that's what it felt like to me. And it had that image of, you know, in the middle of like, you know, Joshua Tree. It
yeah,
has a beautiful backdrop, you know, in the middle of nowhere, where exactly what the movie is supposed to feel. This guy is being hypnotized by the road and just lost in translation, and I you feel it. So yeah, that kudos to you. You know, congratulations to you, because it's something that I don't think audiences will realize, but I think they definitely will now appreciate a little more when they watch the film.
I
It's a
hope.
lot.
But it was very challenging because it was the first time that I have to film myself and I did not have a monitor. And I say, okay, I'm going to do it. It was so hot. And and I have to keep the same clothes the same day and the same look, so to match every day. This film, by the way, was shot in 10 days because I did not have the crew, so I tried to. The first
Yeah,
time was not right. Anyway, I came with something, but anyway, I think it's not so bad for what I did.
I think it's a great project, regardless of how challenging it was to make. The idea is the inspiration behind it should be it should be spoken about more, because too many filmmakers out there are creatives, and that's a big thing this year, is to try to get people creating and to get people doing what you did. Stop making excuses. And that's one of the big things that I'm trying to tell filmmakers. I know so many great storytellers and people that have made a project and they got a big budget at one point, and I'll see them at a mixer, I'll see them at a film festival, and I say, hey man, what are you working on? And they'll tell me, oh man, I'm waiting for, you know, these investments fell through. And yeah, but you had that great story to tell. You know, they lose their will to create when money isn't involved. And if that was the case, a few of your projects wouldn't be in this year. If you just were like, you know, I don't have the money, I can't make the
Absolutely,
movie. So you got, you know, it's inspiring to see a filmmaker stop making excuses like, all right, no one's here. Well, I guess we're going to have a challenging day, but that
absolutely,
10 days in the desert, I mean, or at least it looked like you're in the desert, that 10 days going to be a little challenging, but we're going to make something happen with it. And
absolutely.
it's great stuff, you know.
Thank
So
you.
let's talking about these films here. What was the time frame of each of these projects? Like, were they being filmed simultaneously, or were you like jumping from project to project, or it was more like
No,
throughout like
no,
a course?
no. Uh, Breaking Soul was made in 2019 and Alien Activity in 2021, I think, and I think Until Now was made in 2021. Yeah, yeah, 21 too. Yes, there was always maybe 6 months or 1 year to
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
imagine that
did
being the
not
post
make.
product, yeah, the post production and stuff with them too. That's wild.
Yeah, it took some time because of course of course sometime I say okay, many times I say okay, I'm going to give up. But inside me, it's like there is something which tell me don't give up. It's not the right time. And by the way, it's too late for me to give up because I have dedicated almost 25 years, maybe more, of my life to that. And I have to tell you, and I'm not absolutely don't feel shame about that. After 25 years in the filmmaking, I'm still broke, and maybe that's my destiny. But I'm still broke. Maybe one day it will change, and maybe that's why I came with a good story or good script, because now I'm very focused on the writing also. Because of course maybe the first time can be better, but the writing become very important to me. But like this new project I'm working, I'm jumping from the short film
Hmm.
to a feature film who take place between New York, New Jersey, and Sweden, and maybe Morocco. Not sure. And so far, it's not so bad what we did.
Yeah. See what you just brought up. You brought up an interesting point, and I think it's what more filmmakers should know getting in the industry. This industry is not easy,
No,
and it isn't. When people think of filmmaking, they think about red carpets like the opening night of the Catskill International Film Festival.
of
They
course.
think of bow ties. They think of like limousines and celebrities and stuff. They don't realize that I would say 99% of the people in the industry are working 9 to 5s on the side. They don't realize that the people putting in the work are this is a sacrifice.
Yeah,
They're making a
absolutely.
sacrifice out of their time away from their friends and family, out of their own hobbies. This is their hobby. This is their life. This is sometimes their therapy. And it's not about the money. It's about the story being told. We all want money. Don't get me wrong. We all want to be able to pay our bills
Yeah,
better and not have
of
like,
course.
Uncle Sam or whoever is over there trying to get our money from our pockets. Um, but the idea is people need to get into this industry for the right reasons. And I see too many people like, you can make a career out of this. That's not incorrect. But a lot of people join this industry as a filmmaker solely on the idea of getting rich. And it's unlikely. It's
And it's
unlikely.
wrong.
It's like
It's wrong.
any career. It's you got to do a lot of hard work and you have to advocate for yourself. I could tell you right now, with this festival
Absolutely.
alone,
Yeah.
a lot of films have been submitted. And the filmmakers that will be successful are the ones that have to promote their own work. And they, show your trailers, show your posters, join be a part of Q&As. This is an opportunity given to all filmmakers in the film festival.
Absolutely.
So do these things so that other people get traction on your work. It's important. So I appreciate you joining us with this. And like there's so much about these films that's like I said, diverse. When you're creating films back to back like this, do you ever sit back and you say, you know what, I did something like this before, we have to take a different direction, or we have to get a different tone? Because like I said, they the projects look like different filmmakers made them. So is that something that goes in your mind, or it just happens the way the story flows?
No, I think it first is going my mind, or I'm thinking about something that, and I have a very strange way to write also. It means that if I have an idea about the story, I need first to find the location of the story that I'm going to write. So many times I go on location, and maybe there is 5 or 10 lines. And I say, okay, here's gonna happen this thing. So I take some note. Uh, I have a different way to write. There's many screenwriter, they are at home from the computer and they let the mind travel, and try to find a story. Okay, I work this way, but I like to be on location. So first there is this approach, go to the location, I try to imagine the scene, and then I put on paper, and I try to find people who can understand what I want, and I'm very limited. That's my problem. Where I live in Ireland is very limited. So I have always same actor who is very good now, and another one in Stockholm, and I like to work with the people that I know. And by the way, John Cassavet was doing the same. I did not know. I just read that he was working with the same actor many times, and I think it's good. You create it's like family, because by the way, filmmaking for me is like family. We are all connected. You, me, everyone in the world. We are all connected to something. Is the art? Is sharing art, and the art have no limit, have no frontier, have no race. We are all the same when we talk about art. Of course, different way to talk about the art. But before you say something very interesting, uh, uh, most of the right now we live this day, this generation think that okay, everyone is a filmmaker. Make a short film, I'm a director, and okay, I know everything. So I meet people like this every day, and then I try to explain them that everything takes time. You need first to to understand or work everything. And a good filmmaker is someone who know also a lot about cinematography, and it is what and when I write, I try to write cinematic way. So, and by the way, and I have read recently that, I don't know if it's true, that in US, only 2% of people are making a living with filmmaking. Maybe it's wrong, I don't know. I read on Google, maybe it's not true. But if you see this day, uh, you see, oh, DiCaprio, Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, it's always the same. Martin Scorsese, Christopher Nolan, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's the Hollywood film. But what about the independent filmmaker who make great films? We don't hear too much, sadly.
Yeah.
And thanks, people like you who have great festival, you help those people, to have their moment of light, like
Hmm.
me. For me, it's very, I feel very touching to be here, because I say, oh, great, someone is interested by what I'm doing. Before to talk to you, a friend of mine told me, are you sure that the film that we did can interest the American public? I said, I don't know, we will see. But so I'm so happy to share with you, this page,
I appreciate the kind
cinema.
words and the time. I mean, what it is our film festival and a lot of the same issues that we see across the world from international filmmakers is relevant here in the States as well. And that was one of the things I also brought up, on my opening night, is how we were talking about how we're all connected, and the universal message every few year changes. And there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the world today that our films, even unintentionally, you have Alien Activity and Until Dawn and, Breaking Souls, some of the same issues and undertones are relevant in films on the other side of the planet. And I think that it's a beautiful thing, and it's an eye opener that creators that have never met, they don't even understand each other's cultures, have the same human connection and issues
Absolutely.
going on. Every few years it changes. We're seeing a lot more stuff. We were talking about more stuff with mental health, or people that there's mass confusion, misinformation. And I feel like there's a lot of undertones even in like Until Dawn and Alien Activity when it comes to those type of tones as well. That we're seeing that you might have unintentionally wrote something that you see on TV, that you hear
Agree.
on the radio, you read in the newspaper. And these things have influenced our art forms over the years. And that's why we love doing it. And that's why we appreciate when we're not just getting a bubble of like what happens in New York. We're seeing what happens, what you guys are creating in Sweden, what you Casablanca, wherever you guys are coming from, uh, to create some awesome stuff. With that said, I really want to get in the actor thing. you're dealing with people a lot of times. You said like they've never been an actor before. What do you do as a director, writer, an actor yourself to make these people feel comfortable and also ensure that you get the best possible performance they can give?
Well, first, before to let's say that I choose the people who can can be can match with the character that I want, and also because I'm also an actor, so I have followed, dramatic school in Europe, did a couple of film as an actor, and I'm right now I'm on a feature film as a lead role, but I try to explain them. So when we read the line, I say, okay, can you read the line and just be yourself? Most of the time, they panic because in the first time, they panic when I put the camera and I say, we're gonna do just like audition, just to see how you look. And then I stop the camera. I say, we don't need the camera. We do it together. And I have to say that I've been very lucky because, like Ferryman, an action film, made with no money, honestly, and we have a problem with the sound, but everything was okay anyway. Those people were not actors. There was only one actor, Paul Beck. This man had an incredible background as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to explain them to just be yourself. So sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. Sometimes they deny, sometimes they no, I'm not interested, I cannot do that. And most of the time until now, I find, let's say on 10 people, there is only three or four people that I work with them, and it's incredible because uh, I give the what can I say? I give the possibility, the opportunity to play a scene, and and they do right. And so they don't have to do we don't have to do 10 take. Sometimes it's maybe 2 or 3 take. And I'm very surprised. So sometimes I say, okay, I have been studying for a year the dramatic school, and sometimes I have a guy who never been in a dramatic school who have so much talent, and I say, wow. So, but I think I see. It's like I see directly when I talk to the, the actor, the new actor. I think I feel something. I say, okay, I think this guy has something, but he's not aware. And maybe I'm just the opportunity. I'm just something. I give it the chance.
Yeah.
By the way, I give a chance to people, and but I remember when I start in this business, nobody give me a chance. I had to take the chance, and sometimes
Yeah.
it was very hard because sometimes, oh, this guy, come on, and for many reasons, today is different. Today, I am here in Morocco. There is many big film coming here. I have a lot of friends here also working in the filmmaking. There is only big star coming from Hollywood, coming with the private plane. They make a film,
Wow.
but it's another level. But I think
Yeah.
the people, I give a chance to those people, and they have a talent. It's maybe a gift that they have. Some don't have, and some have.
Do these actors have time on set necessarily for like rehearsals? Do they rehearse prior? Are they just thrown out there like, let's see what we can make out of this?
Oh yes, I mean, when they come on set and we're going to work a scene, they are prepared, and I like that. I have to say that I'm very impressed by that. I mean, this summer, because we are working anyway, I work with a crew in the U.S. and in Sweden, an actor in the U.S. and actor in Sweden, and I'm always impressed by the preparation of an actor. He's not showing up, so, oh, I'm sorry, I'm tired, or I drunk yesterday. No, he's coming. He want to be the best. Like in an example, uh, in the summer, there is a scene in this bit of film where really the two actors have to grab me and put me on the car, be quite violent. It's a violent scene, and where I'm doing
Yeah.
quite a little stunt. Anyway, and they did not dare to do that. I say, no, you have to forget. We are here playing a scene, and I want that you be authentic. And they say, but do you allow us to? I say, yes. Just be yourself. So we did the take a few times, and then I think after 4 times, the take was good, and they told me it was so fun. They told me it was so fun. I said, "What it was fun?" You see, because we can we can let it go. We can be, we can play, and we are not actor, but we can play good. And I was so. And then when I edit the scene, I found it very interesting to see that they were so authentic.
Wow.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm lucky to find the good people. I don't know.
Maybe you got a future in casting directing. We had that casting directing panel last night. You should give them a call. Like, listen, I know some people. I can do this. You're
You know, I forget something to tell you. If you see my IMDb, I've been casting director a few times. I
oh
never
wow
talk about that. Yes, but for big film, you can see that. I
wow
was casting assistant casting director from a TV show called Shaka Zulu with big actor Oliver Reed, Grace
wow.
Jones was back in the time, and then another French movie. So of course there is some technique, casting director, they know right away,
Hmm.
I mean, after a few takes they can say, okay, it's good or it's not good. I think
Yeah,
they know what they are doing. Yeah,
it's a good thing though. You give aspiring actors or even people that didn't realize that they were passionate about acting that opportunity, and that's so rare in this industry.
yes,
Everybody's so it rushes, and
yeah,
I don't know. I deal with it a lot with independent productions where I'll have somebody who's like a seasoned actor will come on set and they'll see someone that has never done it before that might have a little bit of a challenge, but I have patience if I believe in somebody. I have some patience that I can get what I want out of their performance. And a lot of times people will just get frustrated with that. And I'm like,
yeah,
listen, you started somewhere, right? There was a time where you didn't know what the hell was going on and someone gave
absolutely.
you a shot, or there's some reason you got on that project. So that's the same type of scenario. So it's a great thing. It's for actors to sometimes this moment being in this production is a highlight of their day, a highlight of their year, and they talk about it for years to come in small conversations. That's
Exactly.
that's the beauty of being a filmmaker. How many people out there, now there's a lot of people making projects, but people making projects is different than people submitting their work internationally. You know, I know there's filmmakers I know locally, and I'm doing a film festival where I'm like, hey, I'm doing a festival and I want local productions a part of it too. And I nearly had to beg some to submit, if and a lot didn't. And I was like, well, what are you making the movies for? So you can show in your basement? You want an audience. So like just being a filmmaker isn't good enough, pushing your projects. But some of these people in your films now are getting their films pushed on the other side of the world. And that, people right now are watching from all over the world these three projects. So the filmmakers that you put in your project now are getting traction places they never thought they would have an audience. So to me, that's something they should be
Exactly.
proud of, and you gave them that opportunity.
Because also there is something that's very important for an advice that I can give to a filmmaker or also screenwriter or an actor is, first of all, the rule of, I mean, an actor have to be humble. Humble. It's very important. But anyway, as a filmmaker, when I'm behind the camera or front of the camera, I'm very humble. And all the people who are with me are family. We are,
Mm.
so ego is forbidden on my set. By the way, sometimes I do some contract with actor and say, hey, here ego is forbidden. No ego. Here,
Mm.
we are not big stars. Here, we are just people trying to make good stuff. So, anytime we can cut, anytime we can wrong a scene, there is no problem. I will never get upset or, because I've been on set of big movie, Hollywood film, and then I have to tell you, it's not the same. They are very rude sometimes. Sometimes they treat you so bad. So I do the opposite. So if we are like a family during one scene, so let's make it. And by the way, when you create this kind of ambiance where everybody suddenly are connect, there is like how can I say? It's become charismatic.
Yeah.
Everybody connect and everybody want to make something good. And and it is where the magical cinema appears. But if you say to, example, an actor sometime doing a casting audition, so he's gonna prepare himself. Okay, I'm ready. I'm go there. Okay, you go there, and suddenly you find the director, the casting director, very arrogant or very cold, or sometimes can be nasty. Happens sometimes. It happened to me, and I remember one day I did. It was for a small part in a movie, and the casting director was the guy was very arrogant, was very quite hard with me. And then at the end, when I finish, I say, thank you for your time. And I say, you don't have to be so rude. You can be nice. So have a good day. And I left.
Yeah.
And then when I left, there was a woman there was working in the production. She came to me, say, I want to apologize. I say, it's fine, it's okay. And I left. But because you need to be nice, and that's the way you're going to be respected. If you come as a, sometimes, I mean, I have to say, I'm against a bit the red carpet. When you see, when we talk about the Hollywood star, they are coming like God on the red carpet, and the fans are crazy. Yeah, maybe, but I'm not, I've been working with big stars, and you know that. And by the way, I'm not impressed. They are human beings like you and me, and I find more interesting talking with you, like talking with a big star, because the big star will not give me 1 second to express myself, you know,
Yeah.
because they don't have time. They are living in another world. So that in fact, the movie they are making is, sadly, I realized something recently that there is also an elite of filmmaker, elite of an actor. And this elite is, I give you an example. I love Christopher Nolan. He find, I don't know how many money to make this beautiful film. It's a masterpiece. Okay. But it belong to the elite filmmaker. We, the independent filmmaker, we will never have this project because we will never have this money to make this thing. So we are not considered as an elite. We are considered like a very small filmmaker, and still we are making film. So I
Yeah.
believe there is no equality. Okay, here the elite and here the other, and that's the reality. You know,
Yeah. And hopefully
anyway,
things change over time. And honestly, like over here in the States, there's a lot of talk, and it's not to change the subject, but there's a lot of talk because of the writer strike and a lot of stuff that's going on in our country with, the unions
oh yeah,
and all the AI and all the other nonsense that's going
yes,
on,
yes,
that
we follow
a
that.
lot of filmmakers are turning to independent film
Yes,
because these big budget, monstrosities are taking advantage of people. They're bringing, like, to talk about little things, but like they brought back the dead pretty much in the movie The Flash. They brought back Christopher Reeves and other people, but Christopher Reeves in his life talked about how he got, sick of sequels, and he felt like it became a money scheme. And then the guy from like the earlier days that played Superman, he ended up committing suicide because he got typecasted. He couldn't find any roles in Hollywood. And they brought him back from the dead and used his artificial intelligence and video and put him in the movie in a cameo. I mean, what control do they have to do stuff like this in projects?
that's too bad.
And not to bash the film, I thought it was well written and stuff like that. But some of the concepts, you know, it goes on and on and on. An actor might act in a project once, and they'll use his image throughout multiple things and only pay him for the one time. And so people are getting kind of sick of this treatment and this way of cutting a dollar, and they're creating their own content. And I think things might change for independent filmmaking in the very future,
Fantastic.
where
Yeah.
more because like think about it. When you want unique stories, if you're sick and tired and you're fatigued like me about the superhero films, there's going to come a time where people want unique stories that are character driven, that have drama, true human drama. They're going to turn to the independent films, and those are the ones you're seeing that are blowing up in the box office. First time filmmakers making film, because people are getting sick, they're getting fatigued of this product stamp, repeat process. So I think the future might be in our grasps, and I hope so, for more
Oh,
creatives like us to really come up, because there's not going to, I mean, Scorsese's and stuff, they make great films,
yeah,
but
absolutely.
they're getting up there. There needs to be a new generation of talent as well that has an opportunity in Hollywood,
Yeah,
or
every time you see the nominate actor, there is always the same people. I mean, the same band. It's very rare to see an independent filmmaker or an actor with just, every time it's the same. It's the elite. So
yeah.
that's it's a bit pathetic to see that, because now the public is not stupid. I mean, come on, every time it's the same. Okay, we are happy that DiCaprio can win a prize for Killer of the Flower Moon. I'm sure it's a masterpiece film. It's a great subject, but we would like to see also someone coming out of the blue from, who knows, a poor place in the world, who is a great actor, who did a great film. And,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
absolutely. So like when you're creating these projects,
yep.
shifting the subject a little bit, when you're creating these projects, and what do you find is most important in conveying your story?
You mean what is more important in the story, or the way I make the film?
Like what is most important in
Okay.
conveying your story?
First of all, to be authentic, uh, not only to the script, but how I see, because script is something. It's the guide. It's gonna help me to. But it's what is in my mind, what is my vision. So to stay authentic with what I'm thinking, and also the story also have to have a message. If that is only a free violence film, I'm not interested by that. And by the way, I'm not interested by any kind of violence. So if I can avoid that, that's good. And but to have I mean, my goal is when someone see one of my film, at the end of the film, say, "Oh, was not so bad," and maybe the guy want to explain something that we did not see. I try to have a story in the story. I don't know how to explain. It's I don't want to make a just okay. Let's make a short film. Just make a film just like that. No. I want the people that when they finish the film, they understand that okay, there is something good to take. Maybe something positive can help them. You know, like in this
Hmm.
Breaking Soul, I'm sure if some Swedish see the film, say, "Oh, we did not know that this kind of situation of dialogue." Because, by the way, I say to those people, Swedish, now we're going to use a dialogue, but not the one that you use. We're going to use a little bit dialogue, a little bit more authentic, or more from the street. So that aspect is to be authentic, but also cinematic. The
Hmm.
cinematography. Yeah, of course, if I have a beautiful camera as a Christopher Nolan, I will make a beautiful cinematography. But anyway, I try to do something with what I have. I think I have a decent camera. And so cinematography is very important. And also I try to put myself in the shoes of the audience, how they will, what they would think, and how they would react from a scene. So, because by the way, sadly, I'm sorry to say, but 50% of the filmmaker, they don't put they don't go in the shoes of the audience. They say, oh, let's make the film. That's the way it is, and that's the way I want. Okay, no, but you have to think that you make a film to the audience, and it is the
Yeah.
audience who's gonna judge you. So so we have to be always aware about that. When I make a scene, I say, okay, I don't make commercials, so but I make something who have a sense
Hmm.
and you have a morality. I forget. Every film that I try to make is there is a morality, you know, and put myself in the shoes of the audience.
That's
I don't
great.
know if I
Those are
answered to your
no,
question.
you definitely did. You hit on multiple different points of it, and I think it's important, like when you're conveying a message, um, what the filmmaker desires out of the project. Because why do it? Like I always ask, I try to get in the head of the filmmaker because we all do it for different reasons. And a lot of people like they want conversations to come from the material. You know, some people are like you, they want a message to result from their material. And a lot of people out there too, they want their films to almost have different layers. So there's a rewatchability so that, like, in a way, they get more screen time because people have to pick apart the film in different ways. So it's always great to figure out why a filmmaker does what they do and what they appreciate most about their projects. So I don't want to go too long because I can go all day, just like I
Yeah,
tell everybody. What is next for you? I hear that you're writing a book now, and
yeah. I wrote a book with a few co-writers in US, in UK, Morocco. So anyway, it is a beautiful story called Peril of Liberty, and a beautiful story about a young woman called Valentina and her young brother Santiago. So they are two Mexican people coming from a very poor village in Mexico. And anyway, they have been, you know, they have a hard time. They have really hard time. The parents die, killed by the cartel. So they want to change their life. They want a better life. And so this young woman and her brother say, we don't have any choice now. We need to go in US. So they're gonna cross the border. Of course, not in a right way. So many things gonna happen to this woman. But in this book, I'm talking about a lot of things. I'm not talking only about crossing the border. And no, I'm talking about also corruption. I'm talking about, can I say, a lot of things connect to this because it is very topic. You know, every time you start a TV in Europe, you know, and depend on what kind of channel, the Mexican are the bad guy. That way, they're the bad guy. And I'm sorry. Maybe they are bad guys, but it was only very nice people. You know, I've been in Mexico, by the way. Quite amazing this country. Anyway, so in the story here, I try to give another look of can I say? I try to give more authenticity to this woman who try to have a better life. No matter where she's coming from, she wants to have a better life, but she wants that her brother can have a chance to study and have a good life. But sadly, everything gonna turn bad, and there is a lot of tragedy in this book. So
well,
anyway,
we look forward to it.
I finished this manuscript with. I mean, there was a writer called Marshall G. Peterson. He's from California. He's a very talented writer. And of course, there was other writer. There was Shane Neal from Canada. There was another one from UK, Colin Godwin, and also
Well,
my ex, Veronica Franceschi. Anyway, so we wrote this book. Anyway, but let's say that the everyone brings something, but it is a project was in my mind, and we developed this story. So the manuscript is ready. What we're doing now? So let's try to find a publisher, which is very hard to find because people say, "Oh, I'm writing a book. I go on Amazon. I'm selling." You selling nothing. I tried. It did not work. So I try to stand everywhere, and then I say, "Okay, let's try." I try this big publisher in UK, knowing that maybe they will never answer. They get back to me and they call me and they say, "We want your book," and that's it. So the book is coming, I hope this year.
Wow.
So
That's
that's
a
the first book, and then and then I decide to, because the first book was like an experience as a writer, but then the second book called River of Tears. It was another story, beautiful story about a journalist who is investigated the let's say the missing Native American woman in US and also in Canada. So it is an interesting story. And I wrote the book alone and same thing, and I was trying to find a publisher, and I found a publisher. So let's say that this year and then the year coming there will be two books, and the
wow.
second one is, I mean, both book will be available for the public.
That's awesome. So I look forward to seeing whatever work you come up with next, whether it's a book, a film. I know, I believe, I am confident that we will see more work from you. And I already know you're filming something else internationally in various locations within the United States and world beyond, which is incredible. And you know what? If you guys liked Alien Activity, Breaking Souls, or Until Dawn, I urge you guys on our website, CatskillInternationalFilmFestival.com, to go out and vote for these projects. Voting will be open until our closing night ceremony on October 27th. We will be having our closing night ceremony at SUNY Sullivan Selig Theater, October 27th, 7 p.m. sharp. And yeah, I hope people go out and vote. And thank you so much for this time. Excellent conversation. We hit many
Thank
different
you.
topics,
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
important topics as well. And I think viewers will get a really entertaining perspective out of these conversations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great night there.